Question I find most difficult, and I'm interested to know if anyone around the table has got a nice way of approaching this, is the budget issue. Have you got the money? Because as a Brit, it feels quite blunt and direct. Has anyone got a nice way of sugaring the pill on that one, or approaching it?
I've got an idea. I tend to ask, how do you budget?
Ah, right. Not what's your budget, how do you
No,
budget?
because the difficulty you've got, if you say to someone, what is your budget? You are assuming that they know how to create a budget for this. So I used exactly the same thing yesterday. I was on a client's client call. It was a first pre-qualification call. So my client asked me to go with them. And we discussed beforehand this issue of budget. And so we wanted to know clearly whether it's going to have legs or not in any capacity, so we don't waste anyone's time, but you don't want to rule it out. So my experience is that if someone creates a meaningful budget, then you're good to go in some measure. If they've got some madness going on, that's when they say to you, for example, you're expensive. It just means they haven't set the right budget, you see. That's all it is. So I would tend to do that. So in this case yesterday, when we did exactly the same, my client, as agreed, said to them, how are you going to create a budget? And the guy said, I'm going to go and talk to my partner and we'll come back to you just so we know, because we've scoped a little bit out, what the project may be.
Nice.
And I said, can I just ask, have you ever bought one of these before? And he goes, no. I said, okay, so do you know how you're going to create a meaningful budget for this? And he goes, not really. I said, would you like a guide as to some of the things you should consider? He goes, yes, please. So by then, he's already trusting you.
Okay, and you make it much less confrontational because you're talking about the process rather than the amount. So it's a nice way of opening the conversation without heading straight to the money.
And also what it does tend to do, it starts to unlock their decision-making process, which is the buying process. It also starts to unlock who's involved. So you actually find who the decision makers actually are and who the influencers are. It just starts that process. So yeah, if someone said, one thing I do hear a lot is that, if you ask for the price, should you give it? And that says, well, you shouldn't shy away, but if you don't know what the price is, then you need to turn it around in those sorts of ways.
Excellent. Thank you, John. Top tip. Appreciate that.